So the other day on the last episode of Trigger Time that I did, I made an analogy about our government, and a lot of people really liked it, and I got a lot of requests to turn it into a video. So that's what I want to do here today. Now, the analogy was a kind of a way to simplify an argument, to put something together in a way that made it very easy to make a point about our government, about our rights, about our relationship with our government, in a time when people are actively out there in the streets trying to have one of our natural born rights removed in the fact that they want the government to no longer respect our rights. And obviously I'm talking about our Second Amendment rights. Obviously I care about the Second Amendment. Obviously I am a gun owner. You know this if you're watching the channel. Even if you've never watched it before, you can tell. Now that affects how I live my life. That's part of me. Being a gun owner, being somebody who understands what the Second Amendment means, that's a part of my day-to-day life. And I know a lot of people who are anti-gun don't understand that. And guess what? You don't have to. You just have to respect it. Look, I don't understand how or why people who are gay live their lives the way they do, or people who are trans live their lives the way they do. And I don't have to. I just have to respect it. And I do. I fully respect that they can do what they want, and marry who they want, and live their lives how they see fit. And that's all that people like myself are asking from you. Okay? Now, the analogy is pretty simple when it comes to our government. Imagine that the United States is this really, really big, nice house. It's a mansion. It has tons of rooms. It has a basketball court, swimming pools, hot tubs, cable TV. It has every single thing you could possibly imagine having. Okay? Now, we built this big house with this huge, huge yard in a neighborhood that's okay by and large, but it's got some sketchy houses here and there, some smaller little crack houses. You know, next door neighbors, well, on this side of us, they're a little sketchy. Right? Not quite crack house, but certainly not particularly nice. And the one on this side is actually pretty nice, not as big as ours, right? But it's a pretty nice house. Now, we actually moved here from another place in the neighborhood, another really, really big, nice house. And the person that ran that house had a nice big Pitbull that they let run around their yard. But here was the problem with that. Every single time that somebody did something that the owner of that house didn't like, the Pitbull would go up and bite that person. Killed people, as a matter of fact. That person that owned that house used that Pitbull to control everyone in the house with the threat of death or violence or being injured. Okay? That's what the owner of that house used to keep the people in the house under control. We got the hell out of there. We moved and built our own nice big house. But you see, again, back to the sketchy parts of the neighborhood, the crack houses. We kind of needed a pit bull of our own, but not to keep the people in the house in check, but to keep the people outside of our property from coming onto our property, kind of keep those people in the neighborhood in check. But see, we didn't want to have a situation like where we just moved from, okay, where that dog gets out of control, either because somebody in the house figures out a way to keep that dog under their control and uses that dog against them, or the dog just goes wild on its own and starts biting and tearing people up. All right, so we decided what we were going to do is we were going to chain that dog up. Okay, it could get to the fence and it could roam around the yard, but it couldn't go to the pool, couldn't go to the basketball court, couldn't go to all the places that we might hang out, but in general it was there to keep up protection against the crack houses. Okay, it was there to kind of just roam around, to bark when it saw something that needed to be called attention to, that kind of thing. And put a big heavy chain on that dog. All right, that is where we are right now. And what these people are essentially doing when they go out there and scream to have their own rights taken away, understand that. These are your rights, your natural born rights. Look, the Second Amendment doesn't give you the right to keep and bear arms. It simply says the government cannot take that right away from you. That's all it is. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights are not rights for us. The Constitution says we have natural born rights to defend ourselves against tyranny. And the Second Amendment says, hey, you government, here's another link in that chain holding you down to make sure you can't take those rights away or try to violate that natural born right that we as U.S. citizens, as human beings, have to defend ourselves against tyranny such as yourself. And what you're doing is you are actively taking a file, taking a hacksaw, and hacking away at that link. And what you don't understand is when you break one link, you break the chain. The dog is now loose. The dog will do what it wants, or it will do what the one person who controls it wants. Who will that be? I don't know. Could it be Trump? You seem to think he's literally Hitler. Do you want him to be the one in control of the government? The one that tells us all what to do when we've been disarmed? Is that what you want? I don't think you do. I certainly don't want to see somebody like Hillary Clinton get that same level of power. The government should not have that much power. And that's what you're advocating for. When you break one link, the leash is useless. And you happen to be sawing on the biggest link in the chain.